Hello, this is James Harvey, the Professor of Music Theory at the College of Southern Nevada with 5-Minute Music Theory. Let's begin the 5-minute timer and talk about accidentals. So I've already written here a grand staff and a couple of terms: accidentals, the subject of this video, and then a couple other terms: half steps and whole steps. Let's start with those. Half steps are the distances between two pitches. It's a specific distance between two pitches, and specifically it's the distance between two keys on the piano keyboard regardless of color. So if you're starting on one key and you go to the next key, whether it's a white key or a black key, then you're going up 1/2 step. The same goes for if you're going down the piano keyboard one key. That's 1/2 step difference. A whole step, you might figure, is equivalent to 2 half steps, just as normally 2 halves make a whole. So that's where we're going to start, because we do need to know about those when referring to accidentals. Accidentals is a sort of a weird term, and you just have to take my word for it that this is the term that we use to describe these. There's nothing accidental about it. There's actually a reason that we use this term, but you can look that up if you want. I'm not really terribly concerned with that. I'm concerned with knowing what they are and what they do. There are 3 types of accidentals that we're going to begin with. They're the simple types of accidentals, and then later we'll talk about some more complicated accidentals. Now, what accidentals do is they change the pitch but don't change the letter that's used to associate to that pitch. I'm going to start with 3 accidentals. We're going to start with this, this, and this. If those are completely foreign to you, then pay attention, because this is going to be really important. If you know these already, then you could probably skip ahead. So this first one is a sharp, the one that sort of looks like a hashtag. You know, it used to be £, and nowadays it's hashtag. This one is a flat, sort of looks like a pointy letter B, and then this one's a natural. We're going to cover the natural last. Alright, so what a sharp does when it's added to a pitch, if I place a pitch here, which is a C5, that would be played just normally as a C5. Accidentals always happen before the note. That's really important. I'm going to write that just so it sort of buries itself in our brains. Before the note head. Very important that it's placed before the note head. It's a really common mistake that I see with my students, to place the accidental afterwards. We read left to right, so we need to know what the accidental is before we get to the pitch. That's why it's placed there. So this is now what's known as a C sharp. It's weird because the sharp actually happens before the C when we're reading it on the staff, but we call it a C sharp. It's confusing, but just take my word for it. You have to place it before the pitch, regardless of the type of the accidental. So what that's going to do is it's going to raise that note by 1/2 step. So we're not going all the way to D, we're just raising that and still maintaining the C. So it's actually a different pitch, and you'll see in the next video where that is on the piano keyboard. It's a lot easier once you've visualized it, so I do highly recommend that you watch that video if you don't know about these. So instead of this being a C, this is now a C sharp, which is a different pitch, but still referred to as a C, just this different type of C. Now if I take another pitch here, I'm going to place this down in the bass clef. That's an E3. I'm going to place a flat in front of that note, and that just does the exact opposite thing that a sharp does. It lowers that note by a 1/2 step, but doesn't change the letter used to refer to that note. So that's known as an E flat. Again, we'll hear those in the next video when we're looking at the piano keyboard. So now, why do we have a natural? A natural is used to cancel out a previous accidental. So for example, if I write another E following this E flat, that's going to be an E flat. It's just assumed that it's an E flat until something tells me that it's no longer going to be an E flat. So it's just assumed that this is going to be an E flat. Like at the moment, right now, that's actually supposed to be an E flat. Just because we've already placed the flat, we don't need to place it again. Naturals are used to cancel out accidentals that were previously written, like that E flat. So in order to indicate that this is an E natural, or another way of saying E natural is just E, it's already natural, we place that natural sign in front of it, which cancels out the flat. So the basics behind accidentals. I know it can be a little bit complicated at the beginning. Again, check out the next video when we're referring to the piano keyboard if you're confused about this. A sharp raises the pitch by a half step, a flat lowers the pitch by a half step. The natural cancels out any other previously written accidentals. That's the basic idea behind it. Check out the next video when referring to the piano keyboard. Thank you very much.